Hopefully, you were able to have some good conversations with your classmates based on what we saw in that video with the example of loyal love. And what I really like about that video is not only does it show God's love that doesn't change, but it also shows the loyal love between people in the Bible through the different stories, like what we see with Ruth and Naomi. And so I thought that was very cool to see. And it's just a reminder for us of what that type of love can look like. And so now moving on to part two is God restores. And when we think of the fact that he restores, we look at it in a bunch of different ways. One way we look at it is that he restores us personally and that he takes away the shame and guilt that we have. Now, a few weeks ago in fourth grade, we discussed this example of John Newton, who was a slave trader and ended up being saved and changed by Jesus Christ. And the most important thing that we discussed about this was that even after having seen the horrible things that had happened in slavery and taking people from their families and all of those things, and knowing that he played a major part in that, we discussed how even though there was a lot of shame from that he could have carried, when he was accepted and when he knew that he was saved and had a relationship with Christ, he was freed from that. And he was able to create a beautiful song in Amazing Grace. And not only that, but having been changed, it empowered him to be able to help others and to be able to seek to spread the gospel and help others establish that relationship with Christ. So when we say that he takes away the shame and guilt, it's because God doesn't expect us to hold on to the fact that we might be sinners or that we might fall short. He wants us to live in his love, and he wants us to know that our weaknesses is where his strength is shown. And so that's why John Newton is a really great example of how no matter what we come from or no matter what mistakes we made, there is still freedom that we have in Christ. So when we talk about he restores us, we also look at the fact that he takes our brokenness and he makes us whole. And by brokenness, we just mean the burdens in life and just the struggles that we have or the doubts we have about ourselves. And he allows us to take on a new identity. And so with this picture that you can see, it's very cool. So basically, this piece of art comes from, it was a broken cup, but it's a form of Japanese art called kintsugi, where basically they take gold and they use that to melt between the cracks in order to reform the cup. And I think this is a great symbol because it shows that when we're restored and we're built and put back together, we're made better and we're made stronger. And not only that, but we can look back and we can see the past that we've been through and how God has been working all through it. And so I love this picture as an illustration of that. So now let's do a turn and talk. And I want you to share something you feel God has healed in you that makes you a stronger person. And go ahead and share that with a classmate, and then we'll meet back in 2 minutes.